afternoon and welcome to Nigeria Now on Echo Television, where we look at the happenings in the country currently and as well bring it to the table so you can also join the discussion by dropping your points, your opinion, your perspective concerning some of these matters arising. I am Sada Elisha Dasham. I will be doing this show and the discussion alongside Rachel Tansey. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Seven.
All right, without much waste of time, we'll get and dive into some of the things we love to discuss. We're having the fact that concerning the issue of ND, talking about HND graduates from the Polytechnic, we're having JAM, denying their role in the fact that most of the HND graduates have been denied access to the NYSC. And JAM is coming out to state and clarify their position regarding that, saying the fact that they have no role whatsoever concerning that. But I think there should be a deeper explanation, Rachel, to the fact that why are we having higher national diploma graduates? I mean, initially there was no problem whatsoever them getting, into the mandatory 1 year NYSC service that is meant for everybody. But then we've been seeing that lately most of them were being denied. In fact, we saw that on some of our papers where they have been stranded as the fact that what is their fate as it is presently. And then here we're having JAM coming out to say that their inability for them to participate, they have no role whatsoever, and that the authorities should actually check into this. But I think this is not enough explanation to HND holders, because they need better understanding on what really is the way forward. Is it that JAM do not really give admission into higher national diploma, or what really is the problem right now that initially we had, where the higher national diploma holders had no problem whatsoever, but lately they have been denied access into the camp lately?
So honestly, when I saw this accusation coming from these HND certificate holders, I'm a little bit surprised that they are pointing their fingers to JAM. Because HND is like direct admission
for polytechnic holders.
Exactly, it is direct admission. It's like when you go to the university, not even polytechnic, that's HND at the polytechnic level. When you go to the university now, not polytechnic, and you did a diploma with them, then you become a DE student. Rather, instead of starting 100 at 100 level, you start directly from 200 level. Now, this kind of admission comes directly from the school. And we know how this clearance is being done. We've all gone for our youth service, and we know how the clearance is being done. That is, first of all, you go and you get cleared from your school completely. Now it's the senate of your school that forwards your name to NYSC. These are the candidates to be enlisted to go for the next stream or the batch for youth service. And then, yes, there is a time where you need to go to JAM. That is when you need to get your admission letter to take to NYSC in your camp to submit as part of the documents that you need to be cleared at the NYSC camp, meaning your school have already cleared you. That's even when JAM steps in, and is mostly at the BSc, that is the degree level, not even for those who got direct entry into school. JAM already stated clearly that, okay, we give admission from the OND level. That is where we are NCE, and then when it comes to bachelor degree, directly from there you go and get it from JAM. That's when you get. But anything that has to do with the admission that comes from the school directly, they are not responsible. I believe that even if there is a mix-up that JAM is involved in, the school is most likely responsible for whatsoever mix-up, because you did not write JAM to get you did not write JAM to get admitted to be a HND student in that school. JAM was not involved in the process. The reason why JAM is involved with every other is because they are involved with you getting admission, be it for your degree, be it for NCA, or be it for LND. When you write through them, you're able to get admission, because JAM do give even certain admission when you have your first, second, third choice on your sleep, when the first choice doesn't work for you,
The
the
second
second
or
or
the
the
third.
third they give you, and then you choose, and then you go for your education and all of that. We do know the working. But then if there is a misunderstanding, I don't think these graduates should point fingers directly at JAM. The school, their
It should be
institution
involved in
needs
this.
to clear up whatever is the problem they have with JAM, because we know that they are the one particularly involved in giving this admission for HND precisely to students and all of that. But regardless, of course, just as I said, if there is any mix up with JAM, I think it's from the school level, and the student have to take it from their tertiary institution to be able to clear up this problem. And just as you said, we've never had an issue where HND graduates didn't go for service. They go. I know of people who
So many.
recently, so many different tertiary institutions that have been cleared and have gone for service, and they had their HND, not any other. So if your own institution in particular is having a problem with JAM, then perhaps you should take it up with the school, because regardless, you will find out that every finger, no matter how you point it back, JAM is coming from a position where, yes, you can reason and see the chain of how things work, and at the same time be able to pinpoint and say whatever it is, there's most likely that the problem is coming from the school that is supposed to have made this student cleared and ready for NYSC.
Very true. And I think the reason why JAM is in the middle of this whole thing, because we know they are basically the body meant to give admission and therefore clearance. So it seems as if the end product always comes from JAM. So I think the reason why JAM is in the middle of this, but just like we rightly clarified that this has nothing to do with JAM, they have no direct involvement with all of that. So I think the school needs to do the needed so that these students that are out there, imagine spending how much, maybe for example, you've been posted to Calabar from Jos, you know how far that can be, and then on getting there you realize that there is nothing. But for NYS to actually place your name on the portal, something must, there was a mix up somewhere. So definitely the schools need to step in and rectify what needs to be rectified. Now we see that we've been going back and forth concerning the issue of Dangote refinery. When are we going to have this, refinery giving us the first sample of petrol and all of that? And finally today, we're seeing that the CEO, the president in Dangote himself, actually made it known in the refinery in Ikeja, where he said that finally he has brought out the petrol sample, the first sample, and we know that they said they will be selling it in naira. That is to give our naira some strength. And I'm really excited because it's coming right at the point where the NNPCL is saying they can no longer be importing fuel again into the country, looking at the debts they are owing. And then I'm happy with them. I mean, about 650,000 capacity. I mean, this is really something really great. And we're seeing that Dangote is saying this is not just for Nigeria, but as well as other Sahara African countries. So I think this is where Nigeria need to put their hands together and not frustrate Dangote. We can go back to the issue he had with NNPCL back and forth, whether he was bringing adulterated fuel or not and all of that. But I think since we're having this first sample, hopefully the petrols will start rolling, the prices possibly should go down because we are no longer importing. If he's going to be the only refinery we'll be having that will be, sending petrol all over, I think this is where the Nigerian government need to look into. I don't know what is happening with our Port Harcourt refinery. I don't know what's happening with Warri. I don't know what is happening with Kaduna. It seems Kaduna and Warri, there have been some rumors concerning selling it to private individual, because we saw in the business day newspaper where there was a countdown for that of Port Harcourt, but we're yet to hear what is happening regarding the days have passed. In fact, the countdown is no longer going on. So, but then that for Dangote, we're saying that he's doing all that he can, and then we need to see every stakeholder rallying around him to give him those support so that we don't have where this refinery will get frustrated eventually.
So it's good news that we have the first sample coming out from the Dangote refinery. However, I believe, and I'm sure that Nigerians know that the refinery cannot save us yet. In fact, it doesn't have the capacity of saving us out of our misery as it is. It does have a percentage to play in our good when it comes to the oil sector and all of that, but it's not going to save us completely. And even if it does, not anytime soon, because we know the capacity is 650,000 barrels per day of crude oil, what it can, and we know when it comes to crude oil, so many things are taken out of it. It's not just the PMS. We have
the
diesel,
diesel,
exactly.
kerosene,
We
and
have
so many other
we
things
have other
being extracted.
we have gas coming out of it and all of that. So we do know that in as much as it's 650,000 barrels per day, that doesn't mean that is the petrol
that
we will
need.
get. Exactly. And we also, of course, I know this is company won't have detail of how much crude oil they've been able to access and how much they'll be able to give out between the period. The Nigerian government needs to wake up and realize that, you know what, we need our own refineries running if we must save Nigeria. But then it is a good start in the way that, okay, we now have this oil coming in, and we know, we've said this countless times, that Dangote is a capitalist, and it's not like his petrol is going to be subsidized. It's not like his petrol is going to be cheaper. Was he able to give us diesel at a lower price?
Yes.
Yes. The process for diesel is different and
from
all
that
of that is trying to make headway into the market. We know Dangote's strategy is not the first time. Anytime he releases a new product into the market, the price is relatively cheaper than any other product. We know that, and over time it comes to the normal level and even become more expensive than some product. That has always been Dangote's strategy. So let's not be carried away because maybe he gave diesel cheap, then we'll come and have PMS.
PMS being
No,
cheap as
that's
well.
not going to happen, because first of all, we need to understand that for this petrol that we are having, the first sample, he imported the crude oil. That's number one. He didn't buy it from NNPCL.
Yes.
He didn't. He imported this crude oil where they had an issue with the IOC saying, you know what, you are bringing in dirty crude oil for me. You're bringing in oil that is not clean, and up to now we don't know who is telling the truth, his word against their word and all of that. Now we'll also see him saying, okay, you know what, I am going to deal with NNPCL. They are going to be the ones buying from me, and we have marketers saying, you know what, we are not happy about this. We should be able to also buy from you and all of that. Now, we also know that certain things are being put in place. If we are buying from Dangote, are we buying in Naira? That is the only way it can begin to save us, because now there is demand for our currency. If he's shipping it out, is it in Naira? We all know that as a petroleum country, if you're part of, okay, you're selling your crude oil in dollars, you're buying back in dollars. Exactly. So how is the trade going to be with Dangote? If he's selling it out, is he taking it out in Naira? Meaning now we're exporting our oil, refined in, even if it's not from a Nigerian owned refinery, but coming out of our shores, is it going out in Naira? And then the NNPCL, what are your dealings with it? Because there's still a committee concerning it. They are yet to decide, if they are yet to come up with anything. I doubt if they are yet to sit down concerning it, to deliberate concerning buying oil and selling to Dangote in Naira and all of that. Until all of these things are put in place, and until we begin to trade in our currency, before we can start seeing some green light concerning the future for the oil sector in regarding to strengthening the value of our currency. Because I think that that is the most important part. That is where we will say, okay, you know what, now the government don't have to spend that much, looking at the fact that apart from the 6 billion that they need to pay, they need about the same amount to be able to purchase for the remaining quarter of the year, for the last few months of the year. There's so much in play, there's so much at hand. There is a long way to go, but it is a good start. It's a beginning that I think we are supposed to be excited about it. But until all of these things are put in place, I don't think the Dangote PMS is going to be any different when it comes to the price in market. Matter of fact, it might be higher compared to the ones that we're bringing into the country. We just have to wait and hear what will be the price, the difference. Although there's a market for it, which makes it a little bit easier. That is, he can't supply differently from others, he can't supply differently from it because now he's selling directly to NNPCL. But if he was going to include other marketers into it, we would have definitely seen a different price when it comes to the sale of his oil. So there's so much at stake, but then it delivery in Nigeria is far, is there's we have a long journey ahead. It will eventually maybe play its own percentage. We do not know how much percentage difference it can make for us, but it will, but not anytime soon. We still have a long way to go.
We clearly remember when he started, from even when he got the loan from CBN setting up this refinery, a number of experts and analysts have come out to state the fact that I hope the Nigerian government will not be relaxed now that we have the Dangote refinery. This is when we need other refineries functioning so you can complement this one. I think with that, that is why I think the other, OPEC can take us serious, and maybe that is when our naira will begin to have more demands. Why? Because we're having not just one refinery functioning, but we have more than 2 or 3. So imagine for start, let's just say about the Port Harcourt, and then this of them would was actually functioning. You could tell how far it would take us, and then looking at how much consumption the Nigeria will we actually consume
Millions
a lot.
of barrels a day,
We
not
really
just
consume.
hundreds
And then
of
one of the
thousands,
things he said that I think is a take home for me is the fact that this will give the Nigerian government a way to be able to track in loading of our trucks and everything. We've been having issues whereby we cannot even track how many barrels of oil are going out or how many is coming in. We'll have customs say, no, this is the amount. NFC say, no, this is how many millions of barrels of oil we're having and all of that. But I think this will be able to bring in some sensible transparency when it comes to the issue of oil production. So our fingers are crossed, and I think that, just like you said, we have a long way to go. But I mean, this is a good starting point, and I hope that the Nigerian government will be able to do something regarding the remaining. We know there is a lot on their plate right now, but let's just see which they will pick as top priority as it is presently. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for doing this with me. And thank you as well to the production crew. Thank you to everyone who made this program a success. Until we come your way again tomorrow, please do have a lovely day ahead.